kind of just freestyle life.
We're a good ass time, and we spread positivity about recovery. And they were like, "Hey, will you interview people on behalf of Soberocity?" And we were like,
We'll try.
"Hell yeah!"
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
So you guys are freestylers.
Yes.
Yes.
In life.
In life, yes.
I'm Jordan,
I'm Autumn.
and on behalf of Soberocity today, we have the pleasure of interviewing Illanoiz. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Illanoiz. Like, introduce yourself to the class.
My name is Illanoiz. I'm an artist based out of Brooklyn, New York. Up and coming artist. They kind of call me the freestyle killer. You know, I take a lot of songs that are out, you know, that are really hot at the moment, and I put my little twist on it, my little style on it, and it's kind of gotten me, you know, a little buzz on Instagram, and I got a couple of singles out, and now I just want to start raising awareness on certain issues that I'm passionate about, and I thank you guys for, you know, having me on this platform.
Yeah, thanks for wanting to be on here with us.
So, what made you get passionate about like addiction and spreading awareness about addiction?
Well, my parents were drug addicts, so I dealt with a lot of that growing up, and that's what basically makes me want to raise awareness. You know, I want to reach out to kids because it was kind of tough for me as a child, you know, dealing with my parents being addicts, and you know, I just feel like we need to educate the children more about the disease, because I didn't understand that it was a disease when I was younger. I just thought, you know, my parents didn't love me because they didn't stop, and I just had a lot of misconceptions about the disease. So I just want to raise awareness on that, and you know, basically let these kids know that it's not because their parents don't love them.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard. It's really hard to break free from that addiction. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you choose sobriety, correct?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
you're abstinent. So how did that come about? Like, what got you to the state of mind where you decided to choose a sober life?
You know, to be honest, as you know, as a teenager growing up, I'm not gonna lie, I did, you know, experiment just like, you know, most teenagers do.
Yeah.
Especially when coming up in a household where that's fairly normal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's never normal, but you get it. You know, it's
Yeah.
all around me. So, you know, I've experimented with different drugs myself, and I've never let myself get like, how do I say, like dependent on anything. You
Yeah.
know, my willpower is super strong. Like whenever I feel like I'm overindulging in something, and I feel like I'm heading down the wrong path just because of watching my parents go through what they went through, I basically know the warning signs.
Yeah.
You know, like what, so, you know, that's what basically, and seeing them, you know, just seeing them go through all the things that they went through, their struggles with trying to seek sobriety, and, you know, I have kids of my own.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be there for my kids, and I just get high on life.
Yeah. I love that. That's what we do now.
And that's really impressive that that's just a skill that we personally don't have.
We don't have that willpower
the whole
bone.
being able to just like be like, oop, getting bad, like better not. You know, like, and so I think it's like, we think it's really, really cool when someone who can use their willpower, does have enough willpower to not overindulge all the time, or like
Yeah.
chooses abstinence. Like, that's really, really cool to us.
Yeah. I love that.
Like when I was younger and I was experimenting with different drugs and stuff like that, I noticed that it was kind of messing up a lot of relationships that I had with important people in my life, you know? And I would find myself, you know, always in a bad mood whenever I didn't have, you know, something that I wanted to have, or, you know, like, it's still some relationships that I couldn't mend, you know, that I regret because of, you know, my prior addiction, if you want to call it that, you know, like me dibbling and dabbling in different things that I shouldn't have been doing. And there's relationships that I can't mend that I really regret, you know, messing up, you know?
Yeah.
Looking at my kids, wanting to be there for my kids and set a great example for my children. That's what basically keeps me away from all of that. And, you know, my music, I get high off of writing and freestyling, and like, there's no better feeling than getting a good reaction, a good feedback from people, from something that you love to do. know, whether it's paint, whatever it is that you love to do, painting, music,
Yeah.
whatever it is, you know, when you get that positive feedback from people, there's no high that can match that. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to a bunch of your stuff the other night.
Me too.
I listened to all your singles that were on like Google Play. And then when I got home, I was with my husband and I was like on YouTube, like looking at all your covers and all the stuff you've thrown on top of like other people's music.
Right.
That's badass. Like you're
Yeah.
amazing. You're really, really good. Are you like super excited about your new single that just dropped?
Oh yeah, definitely, especially because I kind of like tried a different sound on this,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Spanglish.
It is different.
Yeah, it was
I
different.
noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So.
And how do you say it for? How do you say
Yeah,
it?
how do you say the name of your
Kaina?
single?
Kaina.
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 Don't judge me.
My favorite one, I think I told you this on Instagram. I was like, my favorite one was the Baby Shark.
Oh, the Baby Shark. Yeah.
She knows me, like, I don't like that song anyways. I don't have kids. I just like this song. And I was listening to it, I was like, damn, he is ruthless. Like, that was one of my favorites. I loved it.
I kind of wanted to do something different. Like, I guess people wouldn't expect me to do a freestyle on a Baby Shark.
Yeah.
It was my favorite.
Yeah, it surprised me when I saw it in the recommended.
I loved it.
My daughter, I have a 1-year-old daughter, so that song was like embedded in my head. Like,
Yeah, it's everywhere.
I love it.
Do you have 2 daughters?
I have 2 daughters. Yeah.
Okay, and just the 2 daughters? I just want
Yeah, I
to
have
make
a
sure.
6-year-old. I have 2 daughters and 3 stepchildren as well. So I have 2 daughters of my own.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
have a stepson, 2 stepsons, and a stepdaughter.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Which are mine too. They're
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
So
that.
3 girls and 2 boys. That's a cool mix.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest stepdaughter just graduated high school, so that was awesome.
That is awesome.
Oh, congrats.
Because of your childhood, is it important for you to be really upfront with your daughters about the disease and like how it affected you or what you learned from going through it?
Like with your parents and stuff?
Absolutely. I think it's very important that, you know, I let them know about the things that I went through as a child. Not only so they could be aware, but so they could appreciate the environment that they're in as well. You know? I try to keep, you know, for the most part, my kids in a loving environment. I try to, you know, I always teach them the flip side of things, you know, because there's always a pretty and an ugly. There's always a good and a bad. You know? So for the most part, you know, my daughters, my biological daughters, they're pretty young right now. So, you know, I gotta like basically ease into it with them.
Yeah.
My oldest is 6, and my baby is 1. But,
Yeah.
you know, when they're old enough, I will definitely be open with them about what I went through as a child with my parents, so they could appreciate my mom, because my mom, you know, she's a recovering drug addict.
Yes, that's awesome.
I didn't know that. Good.
How long has she been in recovery?
She's been in recovery for about 12 years now. Like,
That's amazing.
Wow.
yeah, you know, she's been clean for about 12 years now. She's an amazing grandmother. So, you know, basically she always, every time I speak to my mom, she always cries to me because she says that, you know, she basically feels like she missed out on a major part of my life, my youth.
Yeah.
Because, you know, for the most part of my youth, she was, you know, in and out of programs and,
Yeah.
you know, really bad, you know, and now to see how much she's overcome and how much she's grown from that,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. Like, she's the greatest grandmother in the world. I couldn't ask for a better grandma.
Yeah.
Like, you know, my children love her, my kids love her to death.
And you wouldn't be able to appreciate her as much without the ugly to the pretty, you know, like,
No.
and
Like,
you wouldn't
right
be
now-
who you are without the ugly.
Right. You know, she tells me all the time that she regrets making certain mistakes that she made when I was a child, but I always tell her, like, I wouldn't change anything I wouldn't change anything. If I had the opportunity to go back and make it so that my parents weren't drug addicts, or that I wasn't raised in that environment, I would do it again, because it made me such a strong person now, a resilient person.
Yeah.
And it gave me a better understanding about it.
Yeah.
You know, so now when I see, like, I have friends, you know, people that surround me that don't really understand the disease, they might laugh or joke about it, or, you know, and I look at it in a different light. So, you know, I kind of get, like, offended if somebody's laughing at an addict, or, you know, if you see somebody coming up to you asking you for money, and you might know that they need it for drugs or whatever, but it's not to make a joke out of it, you know?
No.
No, yeah.
You know, as sober people ourselves, like, I know we've heard before, like, oh, it's just And for whatever reason you're sober, like, I know we've heard, and other sober people have heard, the like, oh, are you just like, are you making too big of a deal out of it? Or like, it's not that serious? Or like, have you gotten any pushback about your sober lifestyle from people in the music industry?
I mean, not really. It's not, and you know, in my music, I speak about a lot of experience that I've went through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As if I'm still going through
doing it.
As if I'm still, you know, so it's like kind of people don't really know.
Okay. Because I didn't know if there was ever like at a party or in the studio, like someone offered you something and you were like, no. Because like sometimes people offer us stuff and they're like,
all the time.
Are you sure? And I'm like, no, I'm sure. And if they persist, I'm like, I don't. Like, I just don't, you know?
I'm the same way. It doesn't bother me. Like, I don't judge.
Yeah.
And especially in the music industry.
No.
It's kind of, you know, it's all around.
Yeah.
It's all around. Like, you know, you might go to the studio and that's what they do. I don't judge. I won't not work with somebody because they're, you know, whatever, experimenting with whatever they do. You know, I don't judge and I don't try to impose my sobriety on anybody either.
Yeah.
So, you have to be ready to live that sober lifestyle.
For sure.
You know?
Just didn't know if anyone had ever been like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I know, yeah. I definitely had situations like that. And, you know, my reasons are my kids. I'll be honest with you. My reasons are my kids. And, you know, I just like being level-headed. I like being clear. I wear a lot of hats. You know, I'm a father. You know, aside from making music, there's other means of making money that I need to be focused. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, that used to get in the way of a lot of things that I was trying to do. I've been doing music for a long time, and I took a long break because of poor decisions that I made.
Yeah, we read some about that on your, like, we read on your website and, like, did some reading up on you and stuff, and I saw that, like, you started when you were 13, and then because, like, you got involved in all that stuff that, like, it took you away from what you were passionate about, which is what it does.
Yeah, and that's cool that you could come back to what you are in love with and passionate about. You know, a lot of people don't get that opportunity, and I think that's really cool.
What are the biggest positives that have come from choosing a sober lifestyle? Like, just a few of the highlights.
Just some of the accomplishments, you know, like me being more focused on my music, you know, the notoriety I get from it, you know, the supporters that I have, all of my fans, and just people that's rooting for me, you know, like that right there just keeps me focused.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are some of the positives. Also, you know, being able to speak to people that may be in the situation that I used to be in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and just showing them that there's other outlets that they can use, you know, different things that they can do to keep their mind off of whatever it is that they were overindulging in.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like life has a lot to offer, you know, and everybody has a talent. They just got to look for it. You know, they got to search within themselves to find it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So being able to speak to the kids, like that's one thing. Like being able to speak to kids that, you know, deal with parents that suffer from drug addiction, helping them cope with that issue, letting them know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, letting them know that my mother overcame that. So, you know, like you have to keep the faith. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
I thought it was cool. I was reading your like Soberocity interview, and it struck me. I thought it was really cool when they said like something about like what's a piece of advice you would give to someone, you know, like who has an addicted family member or whatever. And you said like basically your answer was learning to have more compassion, and I thought that was cool that was where you went with that. I thought that was really cool. It stood out to me that you went to like here's what you can do to try to have more compassion for them. I thought that was really cool.
Yes, absolutely. You have to. I mean, you know, like especially with my parents, the drug that they were addicted to, heroin. That's something that you know I've literally seen my mom sick, like literally sick.
Yeah.
You know, so
Dope sick.
a young child might not understand that.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, like they think, all right, mommy's using, mommy's not around, mommy don't love me.
Yeah.
If she loved me, she would stop. Not knowing that without it, once they're already addicted to it and they've already, you know, fallen into that, it's very, very hard to stray away from. It's something that your body starts to call for and need. And even if you want to stop, I actually have a very good friend that was an alcoholic, and I didn't know too much about that. So, you know, I'm just telling him, like, you need to stop. You know, you need to start bettering yourself and stop. When he went to the doctor told him that he couldn't just stop. He had to gradually, little by want to stop. So it's like, even if you want to stop, even if you tell yourself, you know, I can't do this anymore, I want to stop, it's hard, especially when you got a doctor, somebody that has a degree, you know, in medicine, telling you that you can't just stop. You have to do it little by little.
Mentally, yeah, and like physically, alcohol withdrawals are like one of the 1 or 2 withdrawals that can actually kill you.
Like coming down.
Like they can actually kill you coming
It's
down.
insane.
It's crazy.
My mother's husband was an alcoholic, and he died 3 years ago because he got really, really drunk, took some blood thinner pills, and fell and hit his head.
Oh, and then
And so it wasn't the alcohol that killed him, but it was the alcohol that killed him.
Yeah, because he fell and bled out.
Something like that wouldn't happen if you were clear-headed and
Right.
was
You know, he
happening.
was a great dude. He took care of my mom, my sister. You know, he was a great dude. He just couldn't stop.
And it's really cool to bring up the compassion because like nobody wants to have the flu. Like nobody wants to be an addict. Nobody wants to be sick at any level.
Right.
You know, no healthy person wants to be sick at any level. And you know, there are people that say the whole like, well, the first time you did it, you weren't addicted to it. I'm like, nobody goes up to like heroin for the first time or alcohol for the first time or speed for the first time and it's like, I really hope this ruins my life and makes me a person I can't stand. Yeah, so like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
For me, I think when, you know, back when I was dibbling and dabbling, for me it was just like a way of being numb to all the problems that I had and I was going through. Like the pain I felt, because you can feel pain. It's not a physical pain, but to me it's worse when you have, you know, when you're witnessing your mom, you know, sick because she don't have the drugs that she wants, or you know, like it's bad. Like my mom used to steal from me. I was 6 years old. I remember. I'm gonna share a story with you guys, and I never shared this with anybody. Well, with close friends, but I'm gonna share it with you guys because I want to raise awareness to it. You know, so when I was a kid, I was about 6 years old. My stepfather at the time was a jeweler, so he used to buy me a lot of jewelry, you know, a lot of rings and stuff like that. So this was when my mom was starting to get really, really bad. My stepfather, he was completely sober. He didn't do drugs. He didn't drink. He didn't do anything. And he started to notice the change in her. So he wasn't giving her any more money or anything like that for her to, you know, get whatever she needed. So my mom started stealing. And I remember one morning my mom called me into the back room. My stepdad had just bought me a bracelet, a name bracelet. And so she was asking me to borrow it. And I was already hip to it. Like my mom already had took a few things from me. So I'm like, nah, Ma, like, I'm not going to let you borrow it. Whenever I let you borrow something, it never comes back. So she started getting real aggressive with me. And she basically pinned me down and like forcefully took the bracelet off. But the look in her eyes was like she didn't want to do it. You know, like, and I didn't understand it then, but I the look in her eyes, I never forget it. You know, and she didn't want to do it, but it's like, you know, that it's like, I don't know how to explain it. That addiction is crazy. That heroin addiction is crazy.
It's literally like when people explain the science of it, it's primal. Like it's primal, the urge, like so like even if they don't want to, like you said, like she, like her heart, like she doesn't want to be that person, and you can see that in her eyes, but like something in here that
she's not like that. Like that was that drug, just like I don't know what it was doing to her, but that's what made me build that compassion. You know, because it's like this, right? Had she not done that, she could have went out and did something way worse.
Yeah, it's true.
And really got in trouble. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like you have to build an understanding about the disease.
Yeah.
No, in order to build compassion for it. For the, you know,
not everyone sees that. Not everyone sees the look in the eyes that or notices or takes note that like they don't want to do that. So that's cool that you do.
Yeah. And like you seem, I don't know, it's really cool how you seem to separate the disease from the person. And a lot of people don't ever get to that point. So like, I think that's super awesome of you. And you seem like a really, really humble guy. But I'm going to ask a question, and you can be as unhumble as you'd like.
Yeah, really throw it out the window.
I'm going to. What's a verse or a line in your music that always makes you stop and think like, man, I killed that?
All right, I'm be perfectly honest with you guys. I'm like my own worst critic.
Oh, yeah.
So before I put something out, it has to be like fire, so it's like I'm gonna say everything I write.
And you can tell that it is that way because everything you make is awesome.
He
like,
says everything I write because like he's not gonna put it out if he doesn't think it's badass.
and that's why Baby Shark was so good.
Yes.
Right. The thing with me is that I'm like super versatile. So if you hear my singles, like if you hear my singles on Google Play,
Yeah.
not one single sounds like.
No, I was gonna say they're all different. Like Hoodie in the
Right.
Summer, Down, and then Kaina.
Kaina.
Like they're all
Yes.
so different. Like
Right.
so different.
Right. It's a different sound. So I like to, basically, what I like to say is that the beat talks to me. So when I hear the beat, it basically tells me what to say, how I'm gonna approach it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's weird.
That's really pretty though. I love
beautiful.
that.
Who do you look up to in the freestyling rapping world?
I'm gonna be honest. A lot of the rappers that I look up to are not here with us today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like one of my favorites is Tupac.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's crazy because I'm from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. So when I say that, a lot of people get mad.
Because you're supposed to be with Biggie.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love Biggie. He's like my second favorite.
You can love both.
You can.
Right. But Tupac was just much more of a conscious rapper. Like, people used to say that he contradicted himself, but being a human is a contradiction. You don't always feel the same. Sometimes I feel happy, sometimes I feel sad, sometimes I feel mad. And when you listen to Tupac, he has a song for every which way that you feel. Like,
Yeah.
He was a very introspective rapper. When Kanye talked about like being self-conscious, you know what I mean? And he's like, everyone feels it.
She's
And
like, what?
look at her, she's so cute.
Hi.
Yeah, when Kanye said like everyone feels this way, I'm just the first to admit it. Like when people get more introspective, I just really love that. And you do that a lot in your raps.
So what was her name?
this is Aaliyah.
Aaliyah. Hi, Aaliyah.
Get it? Illa.
It's interesting because both of my daughters' names start with I-L.
I know.
My stage name.
Yeah.
Illa.
So it's Aaliyah, but starts with I-L.
Yeah. What's something, speaking of your daughter, what's something that you're excited to get to teach them that you didn't get to learn when you were younger? Just like internally, externally, because of your parents not being well yet. Like, what's something you're excited to teach them that you didn't get to learn?
Some of the most simplest things like riding a bike.
Mm-hmm.
My 6-year-old loves music, so I want to teach her how to write songs.
Any other stuff you would want to teach them that you didn't get to learn?
Well, I kind of wish that my dad was around to like teach me about girls early on.
Yeah.
So
It's understandable.
I know it's like I'm scared of this, but at the same time, I really, really want to teach them about boys and how to stay away from them.
Yeah.
Where to avoid them.
Classic dad.
How not to ever look at them. Yeah.
Yeah. They aren't even real. They don't exist until you're 30.
No.
Yeah.
Those are figments of your
I get it.
imagination.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I want to be real with them.
Yeah.
I want to be real with them so that they don't go into things blindly. I want to.
Yeah.
A lot of boys try to take advantage of these little girls nowadays, especially in this generation where these kids are growing up way too fast.
Yeah, people are growing
I
up
just
really
want to
fast.
teach her that, basically loving herself and respecting herself is the most important thing before anything. You don't compromise your respect for no little boy's fake love.
Yes, I love that.
Yes.
That's something we were able to learn
Later
in life. So it's
just
good.
because, yeah, so like you'll be able to, because you're like able to be present, and now that like their grandparents, like your parents are able to be so present in their lives, like they'll get to learn like mental and emotional stuff that like you didn't get to learn until later, like
Yeah, very
so
cool.
that's really, really awesome. Is there anything else you want to say?
This is dope. I love this interview.
Thanks. This is our
I'm
first one. It's
honored.
really fun. Like,
We're honored.
Right.
You're not
it doesn't
the guy.
matter. I digress.
I digress.
Sorry, this is what we do. We just start talking and we go off on little rants. Okay, well, thank you. We really, really appreciate you talking to us and answering all of our questions.